Pass it right by Tim. It's him.
Okay. Okay, it is 6 o'clock, so I will call the meeting to order. Alicia, can you please do a roll call?
Yep. Lori Blargen.
Here.
Ian McDonald.
Here.
Matt Kukal.
Here.
Lacey Oster.
Here.
Bruce Blargen.
Here.
Marge Below. Here. Corey Cole.
Here.
Our district mission: together we engage, educate, and empower all learners, bridging their passions to pathways to create successful futures and positively contribute to our local and global communities. Is there a motion to approve the agenda this evening?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we will start with our public comment. Just as making a public comment, you have 3 minutes. Your comment will be limited to no more than that. Opinions and ideas contributed by students, parents, staff, and other citizens are valuable to the school board. All comments shall be directed to the board and not to staff or other meeting attendees. All statements should be directed to me, as no person may address or question board members individually. The board will receive such input without comment or take no action relative to any items brought forth. We may direct the district administrator to consider such an item at an appropriate place on the agenda or a subsequent meeting. Let's go ahead and start with our school board candidates on this one. Jessica.
I'll give you just a heads up like 15 seconds before.
All right, sounds great. And, all right, I'm Jessica Bjorkman, 2130 40th Street, Somerset, running for school board candidate. A little bit about me personally is I have lived here since 2012, and my 2 young boys, one who just started pre-K and wrestling, are the center of my world. As a family, we love the outdoors, camping, hiking, four-wheeling, all outdoor things. My motivation for running for school board is simple. I want to serve my community and contribute to the success of the school. I currently work as a principal at a small charter special education school, and I hold both a principal and a special education director's licenses. And for those of you who know what this is, I'm also a board certified behavior analyst. What matters most in this role is representing the community and making decisions which engage, educate, and empower our students. What I bring to the table is my leadership experience, honed through years of practicing supportive leadership. I have political beliefs, however I am practiced, not perfect, at being professionally nonpartisan, listening to others. In my role as a leader, I've learned the value of patience and open-mindedness. I am committed to respectful and professional discourse. I refrain from shaming and negative contributions on social media, instead focusing on constructive dialogue. Our community has faced division on various issues, and I acknowledge the hurt that exists. To move forward, we need leaders who are flexible, open-minded, and open to compromise, and consider alternative ideas. My approach aligns with this. This doesn't mean I don't stand for anything. It means I stand for upholding the responsibilities of the school board above my own political and personal agendas. I follow a systematic decision-making process, which I have used in my work both as a leader in private and public sector. I acknowledge my personal beliefs, dive into empirical data, consider what other schools are doing. I act as a good financial steward of taxpayer dollars. I assess litigation risks, and most importantly, seek input from the community, including our educators. I believe that these actions support the responsibilities of school board members, and those responsibilities include student achievement, policy making, evaluation, budget, communication, and advocacy. Because of the 3-minute cap, I had to cut out a lot of things, so I hit the high points. I ask for your chance to earn your vote, give you the chance to get through the primaries, get to know me better, and decide if I am right for you. Thank you to the board and administration for these 3 minutes.
Thank you, Jessica. Steve.
I know. Don't pull my shirt down. Wow, if we can get enrollment up like this would be awesome, wouldn't it? All right, tell me when the timer's going. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Steve Degelow. I am one of only 2 candidates that is expressly fighting for our parents, works in the private sector, and has children in the district. I'm not an insider. I'm a fighter for my daughter and her other friends at Somerset's elementary school and at the other schools. Since November, I've been knocking on doors and meeting with hundreds of Somerset voters that tell me families used to move here for the schools. Are we ready for Somerset schools to be great again? Do we have the courage to make it happen? You will find I am a leader that does not believe in the notions it can't be done, or it just, you can't do that. We will partner with parents and local businesses to get the job done. I don't believe in complacency. I don't believe in mediocrity. It takes faith to achieve greatness. God gave us the greatest gift, and that's our children. They deserve the best. As parents, it is our job to protect them and instill in them their beliefs and values. Somerset values are American values. We have trusted our schools, we paid our taxes, but teachers, security, and gifted and talented programs of academic excellence have been cut. Let me point a few things out to this room. Number 1, 2023 has been a record year again for school shootings. Our full-time SRO was cut last summer without parents knowing. Just last fall, 77 miles away in Chippewa Falls, a child with mental illness drafted a manifesto and planned on some devastating things. Parents were not made aware of that. Tonight, here, you can take action. At the board level, our chief of police informed me that the full-time SRO campus position could be restored immediately for the remainder of the school year at a cost of only $17,000. Even more needs to be done, but this is a critical first step. Please take a vote tonight. You have the funds, you can find them. Take it seriously, please. Number 2, enrollment in 2011, 1,618 students. Enrollment in 2021, 10 years later, down to 1,466 students. But our population has grown exponentially since 2018 with the bridge opening. Since 2018, our district population has grown over 20%. Why are our parents leaving our schools? It appears from financials section 435000, these are the school's financials, that over $1 million have been sent out of our district back to the Wisconsin DPI for parents that are enrolling outside of Somerset Public Schools. Let's get the money back by making our schools more attractive. We pay almost $500,000 to our top 3 administrators who have received their pay raises, yet teachers are cut, class sizes are up. Cut administration costs, not teachers or programs of excellence.
20 seconds.
We can have exceptional schools again, but it's going to take a lot of thinking outside the box to get this done. We can market our schools as safe and exceptional. When we do that, we win. Enrollment will go up, revenue will be restored. Let's make Somerset schools great again. I look forward to your vote February 20th and again April 2nd. Vote for 2, Danny and Steve.
Danny.
Danny Erickson, 62nd Street, Somerset, Wisconsin. As an active member of the community, an engaged parent, and an advocate for high standards of education, I'm well suited to serve on the school board and would be honored to earn the community's vote. I am a mother of 4 in the Somerset School District. My husband and I have been active members of the Somerset community for the last 13 years. I have a great passion and desire to see the Somerset schools, kids, and community thrive and succeed. In my family, we prioritize the building of strong moral character and critical thinking, and we expect the schools to align with this mission. Academic excellence should be the standard, preparing every K-12 student to be a productive member of society and equipped to succeed. If elected, I will be an advocate for high academic standards, parental involvement, curriculum, transparency, and easy accessibility. I want to uphold strong traditional family values in our schools. I am results-oriented, fact-based, and enjoy rolling up my sleeves and working with others to make a measurable difference, like finding out the reasons why families are leaving the district and looking for other alternatives. I have been working on a parental survey for families who have left or are looking to leave, and I will send to the entire board for your consideration. Regarding curriculum transparency, Last year, when my son was in 9th grade English, he had an assignment called the Lit Circle with books to choose from. I was dismayed that parents were not sent the list and that there were very few choices for uplifting educational reading material. I discussed this in person with Shannon and Trish last spring and was led to believe that parents in 2024 would be notified about the book list along with a synopsis on each title. I was told by the English teacher that these books were chosen because they went with the theme of the unit, which is diversity and inclusion. Were the parents notified this year about the assignment? They were not. I was hoping for positive change. 6 of the 8 concerning books were the same as last year, with 5 containing profanity, sexual content, underage drinking, drugs, smoking, nudity, and controversial racial and social commentary, with the 6th book having a theme of racism being systemic in our legal and policing systems, which is critical race theory. Thank you so much to the teachers who have been transparent with me this year. I really do appreciate that. However, I think there is more that can be done, and curriculum transparency should be a district-wide policy. In closing, my goal is to help grow Somerset School District to be the place where families and students want to be by prioritizing academic excellence, parental involvement, and curriculum transparency. I would like anyone to speak to me about anything. There's no question off the table. Please remember to vote in the primary on February 20th. Thank you.
Corey Cole, 563 217th Avenue. I'm Corey and I'm running for re-election to the school board. I've been a Somerset resident since 6th grade and graduated in 2003. Excuse me, 2003. I live in the township with my wife. We have a son who just turned 1 and a daughter on the way. We're staying in our home until it's time to downsize, so we're here for the long haul. Selfishly, that gives me 2 great reasons to make sure our schools excel. I had an amazing experience when I went through the school here. I joined the board to ensure that all students, including my own eventually, have the same opportunities to succeed that I did. Since joining the board in November, I've done a lot of listening, reading, and learning. I look forward to continuing that path and being able to contribute more by filling voids in committees or wherever else it may be needed. I also look forward to being part of the hiring process of the high school principal to find someone who aligns with our goals. Overall, I believe this district is doing many great things and heading in the right direction. I'm not seeking re-election to bring a political agenda or laundry list of changes to the schools. I have my beliefs, but not a lot of hills I'm willing to die on. Meaning I'm always happy to engage in conversation with people who feel differently and are willing to work together to solve problems creatively in the best interest of our students. My goals are to ensure our tax dollars are spent effectively, we continue to hire and retain great teachers, and we grow our student enrollment. I had the privilege of learning from some of the best while attending school in this district. There were many, but among them was Mark Barron, who liked to say, "Good enough never is," and the legend himself, Bruce Larson, who taught me to always do my best and work my butt off to improve. With one of the key roles of the school board being to hire and evaluate our superintendent, those are the standards I'm going to hold her to. I'll hold her to those standards to continue to build a culture of excellence and success to ensure our community can be proud of our district, know that our tax dollars are spent efficiently, our teachers are educating effectively, and our students are able to grow and excel. You can find more information, Facebook, Corey Cole for Somerset School Board, or shoot out an email, Cole for Somerset Schools. Thank you.
Stephanie?
Hi, Stephanie Anderson, 62nd Street in Somerset. I just have a couple of quick and friendly points that I would like to share. Firstly, I know there's been a lot of dialogue about declining enrollment. And I just would like to encourage you to really consider getting input from parents who've made the choice to leave the district. I happen to be one of those parents, and would be more than willing to share constructive, productive feedback, and we'll also share that we've had a lot of amazing experiences, and we've a lot of positive feedback about teachers. We continue to stay very involved in the community, in sports, in summer activities. But I'm just one of the many, and I think that by doing a survey or a focus group or something along those lines to capture that feedback would be very insightful for as you're planning and have your strategic goals in place to really help consider the reasons why people are leaving. The same way companies, if you cancel subscription, they want to know why, right? And so there's exit interviews if the teacher leaves, it's the same sort of concept. So just to encourage you to consider that. Secondly, I know that all of you carry a huge responsibility and a lot of burden, and just would really want to encourage you to leverage other parents in the community as well who are willing to be collaborative and roll up their sleeves and help. You can write my name down. I would be willing to, whether it be helping with a survey or something else. I have 25 years of experience with a global consulting firm. I've worked with universities and nonprofits and corporations. And I think having the involvement of parents to help amplify the work that you're doing and the strategic goals of the district would make a huge difference. And just in closing, I'll just share that I will be supporting Daniel Erickson and Steve Degelow in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Nancy.
Hi, my name is Nancy Anderson. My address is 1539 Hillside Court in Richmond. My work address for the last 30 years has been Somerset Elementary School, down by the river, up here in Sunrise. I feel so fortunate and proud to be able to say that I have been a Spartan for over half my life, teaching first, second, and third grades. I'm currently a second grade teacher at Somerset Elementary. Although I may not know your why you are living in Somerset, let me tell you mine. Why I'm here. I grew up in Richmond, and even as a child, I knew that I wanted to become a teacher. I was able to sub in this district the spring that I finished college. It was a small town, but the community and staff had such big hearts. For me, my why is not just one thing. It's a combination of many, our students, our families, and our community. I also know that I could not do my job without the support that I have from my coworkers, my administration, and our school board. We are better when we all work together. I realize that teaching the second grade standards is my job and very important. However, that is not all I will be remembered for by my students, as I found from these quotes that former students have written to me over these last few years. Quotes from the students. I loved how you always greeted us at the door each morning, and we got to choose a hug, a high five, or a handshake. Very important at elementary. I remember that you were my first teacher at Somerset when I moved here, and it was cool because you also had my aunt. I love seeing you at the store and other places. You always remember my name and ask about my family. You made a poster with our name in the middle, and each student said something kind about us, and you wrote that around the poster. You taught me how to be kind and tell the truth. You would put a smile on my face no matter what. I was sad when we had a sub and you weren't there. As a school community, we know the importance of families and a strong home-to-school connection. We have the Learn to Love service learning opportunities that help connect us with the community. We have grade-level music programs in the evening to showcase their talents outside of the classroom. These are also recorded so all family members can see them. We recently had parent-teacher conferences where every family was invited, and currently have had over 500 families connect with their teachers to attend. Some teachers are still making them up due to being sick during conference week. We have parents, pastries, and paired reading going on this week, where each of our 568 families are invited to begin their day together at the elementary school, sharing the joy of reading and pastries with those they love. We are bringing back the Somerset Elementary Career Fair on May 3rd. Parents and community members may volunteer to come in and share about their occupations. We are also very grateful for our elementary school parent group. They plan and organize many activities for us, for our students and our staff. Once again, my why. The students, the staff, the families, and our community. What I didn't know in August of 1994 when I received that "you got the job" phone call was that this job would become my second home, my second family, made up of many generations of Spartans to come. I want to thank the many families, our school board members, our administration, and my coworkers for their continued dedication to making Somerset an awesome place to grow and learn for all students, all students. We are better when we work together. I leave with a quote by Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Okay, we'll move on to our superintendent report.
Okay, somewhere in the crowd, Randy, where did you end up? Randy and Eric, I think they're in the hallway.
After they said we had to clean out the storage.
Yeah. So I had planned on doing this update on my own, and then Randy and Eric said, you know what? We don't have enough meetings to go to during the week, so we would love to come and give an update. We had some pretty exciting things happening last week in terms of our elementary project, so I'm actually going to turn it over to the experts here.
Use that term loosely, yes, yes. All right, Randy LaFave, I just want to introduce Eric Cavisto. Eric has met a few of you, but he's going to be the project manager for all the projects we have going on campus. We did have a meeting last week, bid opening on Wednesday.
Wednesday last week, yep.
Very exciting. We had a lot of bids, which is good to see, and good results. I'll let Eric go through all that in here in a moment.
Which one down there?
The one on the left first, please.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. For starters, nice to meet you all. Again, looking forward to working with you over the next year and a few months. Can't believe it's February already. It's going by way too fast as always. Like Randy said, last Wednesday, we had bid pack number 1 bid out. So that was the elementary school, that scope of work. I think overall the message is very positive. We had really good coverage through the 12 different work categories, work scopes we set up. On the screen you can see the different bidders throughout the 12 work categories. 50 bids overall, really heavy on the MEPs, which is a really good sign as we get into bid packs 2, 3, and 4. I think it kind of shows what the market's going to do over the next 3 months. Overall budget, it is this is a draft, rough idea, but
Go to the next.
The other one?
Please.
with that being said, from the DD budgets that we presented last board meeting, or 2 board meetings ago, with the bids that came in, we were about $500,000 under budget, and that's just the different work categories with some of the escalations and contingencies that we held. Now that it's bid out, it's solid, we could go to contract with it. Looking right there around $700,000 to $800,000 under budget. So that's just the elementary school. When you look at the overall budgets, there's been a little bit of pressure on the performing arts, so it definitely helps alleviate that. The message overall at this point in time is we're where we need to be. Keep proceeding with design at the performing arts. Next steps, as far as the elementary school, over the next week we're going to do what we call scope reviews. We're going to go through all the bidders, the first 3 low bidders, walk through the scope, walk through the schedule, ensure that they have a complete number they're comfortable to go to contract with. Next board meeting, I believe, is the 26th of February. We're going to meet with all of you, give our recommendations on who we would recommend going to contract with for the 12 different work categories. Assuming everyone's on the same page, then we'll go into a GMP and write subcontracts, start with the submittal processes, getting the materials ready to go for construction start. A couple other things to look forward to, bid package number 2, which is the early precast package for the performing arts. That's bidding out on Wednesday, so 2 days away, so we'll get that awarded, get that long lead item contracted or under contract, so we don't have any issues with that item. Next after that is bid pack 3, which is all the stadium work. That's going to bid out on the 28th of February, so about 3 weeks away. And then last but not least, bid pack 4, which is going to be the performing arts. It's a little ways out, anticipating bid day for that being around April 18th. I know that's very high level. I'll open it up to you guys if you have any questions, concerns, comments.
Does this include the playground? I know that was kind of...
The budgets right here do not include the playground. If we were to look at the overall budget sheet, which I didn't bring today, apologies, but it's included in there. So I know we're working through various options on what that could or will look like ultimately for this summer.
Okay.
And you'll be looking for recommendation from us for approval at next meeting?
Correct.
For the bid pack 1 and 2?
And 2.
Recast. Okay. That's good. Good moves. Thanks, guys.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
So part 2 of referendum updates, I just wanted to touch on the bird nest. That has been a hot topic actually over the last multiple years in terms of what do we do with it. I'm sure you've seen it up on one of our light poles. Some ongoing concerns back and forth as to whether it presents any type of risk in terms of it's sitting literally on top of the lights. What happens when the birds leave? Can we move it? Can we not move it? What is the cost to move it? And after Margaret Johnson, actually I probably could have asked where they were here, but they went through, did some bidding and determined to move the nest, and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're looking at between $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 additional costs on top of that for some additional work that would have to happen to potentially try to prevent the birds from rebuilding the nest, all with no guarantee that it would actually work. So we've decided at this time, since we don't have to do anything with the light poles, the lights right now are not part of the project, we're gonna leave it. We were talking the other day that the birds seem to be swooping at people less, which is good because that was an issue when they first arrived. We have had people narrowly almost get hit with a fish as they are in the river and bringing stuff up to the nest. So it seems to be more of just a mild annoyance at this point, but not something that we think is critical, and certainly nothing that we want to spend that kind of money on for no guarantee that they wouldn't a year from now rebuild in the exact same spot. So I bring that up just because it has been brought up many, many times. We've had, I don't even know how many conversations about it, trying to see if there's something we can do, but the nest is here to stay at this point. So any other questions about anything Margaret Johnson went over? Obviously that's really good news, more to come, but it's a good start.
Yeah, and I think just to remind everybody that the budget is, we have budgets for each bucket, that's how everybody breaks it out, but it's an overall cost, so that savings isn't a savings just for elementary, it's for the,
Right.
everything comes in on a total in the end. So that's just how it works.
Yep.
So.
More to come. And Bruce and Ian have started to join, not quite weekly, but almost weekly with our weekly meetings, so that's been helpful too, I think, just to keep the two of them kind of updated on our conversations and where we're at, and their insight and background was always helpful too, so. Okay, good with the referendum? All right. Actually, you know what, I did have a question that somebody emailed me the other day. I'll just mention it quick with the weather, in terms of if we are able to start construction sooner. So right now, Margaret Johnson is continuing to go with April 15th as kind of being the loose date. If for some reason the weather continues as it is, we may look at potentially trying to move something up, but there's also some issues with materials and those kinds of things, so it's not necessarily a guarantee, but something that's on their radar that if for some reason we don't end up getting a big snow dump or something like that earlier would certainly be better, but we have to kind of wait and see. So, okay? All right. My other item was, so I had a memo attached regarding a recommendation for substitute pay. Obviously, I put some information here in the memo, but it's probably not a shock that we have hit, and probably have already hit long ago, what I would consider kind of an emergency status here with not having enough subs for teachers and support staff. We somehow kind of still make it work day to day, but not without significant stress to the system. Teachers consistently losing prep, losing lunch. It's not necessarily sustainable. After going through our rounding process, which I know I've mentioned a couple times, this was one of the biggest themes in every group, with the exception of supervisory support staff, of just, we have to do something to try to beef up our sub pool. So after doing some research and just looking at what others around us are paying and getting some informal data from subs that used to sub here, and when we call, they say, man, I love subbing in Somerset, but I drive right through another town that pays $20 more or something. So even if this grabs us 3, 4, 5 extra subs, we think that that could alleviate at least some stress on the system. There's certainly no guarantee that increasing the rate will yield us more subs, but we feel like it's at least some immediate action step that we can try to do something to get people in here to, as I said, kind of increase our sub pool. So on the back is my recommendation, trying to balance how do we be competitive with area schools around us, and then also knowing that we're competing with much larger schools, Hudson, Richmond, Stillwater, and just trying to take a stab at something that we think will bring some people back that used to sub here, and maybe grab some new people that maybe aren't or haven't been subbing to this point. That's for teachers, and then for support staff, increasing that rate by $1 to at least, again, try to get some people in our sub pools for those two groups. So I put it on here as discussion, possible action. If you want some more information, great. Kind of leave it up to you in terms of if you feel like there's anything else you would need. We can certainly move it to the next meeting as well. You know, otherwise, in my opinion, the sooner the better. But if you need more info, that's okay too. We can get you what you need.
It was helpful just for you to put the other surrounding towns and how we compare, because I look at Hudson right next to us, it's $60 more. You know, some of these, it's not even just $20, it's pretty significant for.
Well, and some of these that are really low, this was a conversation at our superintendent meeting last week, and literally everyone is having this exact conversation of what do we do to try to get people in. So not a guarantee, but it's at least something actionable that we can try.
Do you have numbers at all about what, I mean, is it daily, short subbed, and how many, you know, just to kind of,
Yes.
it's daily, right, at all schools?
So look across this week, every day we have at least 5 positions unfilled. So I just looked today because I happen to look most Mondays. So I couldn't tell you the last day that we were fully staffed across the district. Yeah, they're all shaking their heads, right? Yeah. It's a constant battle.
Any questions or?
Well, can you quantify it, like, how many subs average do we have, and what's the total impact of this down the road?
Well, that part, the second part will be hard to quantify because I don't know. I truly don't know at this point if this will, either way this will be an increase because we either pay the current subs we have more, which, okay, but we're hoping to get to that next tier where in addition to that we get more people, right? So, I mean, I could certainly get data in terms of what that looks like day to day. It fluctuates a little bit, but if that's helpful, I can grab that. I can tell you every day I get an email from each of the buildings saying, here's where we're short, here's where we need coverage, where can you help? I mean, often it's 3, 4, 5, 6 positions and varying positions between teacher and support staff.
It doesn't end up being more expensive to have our staff covered
Yep.
than a sub anyway.
Yeah,
So if the
throughout the
staff
course of a day.
covers.
Because ultimately what we want is have more subs where internally we're covering less because that ultimately saves us money. So. But the rate at which we're covering internally, we have to try something.
Lori, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm wondering, I noticed that what you are suggesting, Shannon, is only $5 less than what New Richmond is paying, and I was wondering why we don't match.
We certainly could. I wouldn't say there's necessarily a specific reason. We were trying to balance the best we could in between some of the smaller schools and some of the bigger schools. If you support higher, great.
So as a board, is this something that somebody wants to make a motion to have possible action, or would we like to put it on the next agenda? Are you requesting
Well, I also
additional?
have the question Ian did about the impact on our overall budget. So it might be beneficial to see if we can get some data.
Yeah, maybe if we take what we've had for a month.
Yeah,
Which
can we
is gonna show.
do that, and then we'll put it on our agenda for
Yep,
next-
just tell me what you want.
specifically?
I guess just on average, how many we have a week and how many we think this would,
How many what a week?
subs a week or
External
vacancies?
subs?
Yeah. Maybe like what we're spending a week.
Like
on
an average
subs.
hypothetical number a month, that's something. Just-
Like
I'm afraid to
external
sticker
versus
shock, you know?
internal?
What's that?
Like external versus internal?
Yeah, you can compare it.
And Laura, you were saying how it would affect our current budget.
Yes. And I think what I heard going on there is someone asked for a comparison of what it's costing us to have things covered internally
Yeah.
versus paying the higher
A day,
amount,
yep.
is that correct?
Yes.
And Shannon, could you also give us the data of if we matched New Richmond? You know, I
Sure.
don't know if that $5 makes a huge difference or not.
Yep. Okay,
Okay, so.
okay, bring that one back.
Yep, next agenda. Great, Tim, you're up with the building and grounds budget. Thanks for coming.
We don't want to.
No,
Oh,
my
President Oster,
Go
Board,
ahead. Yep,
thank
whenever
you
you're
for
ready. Thank you.
allowing me the opportunity to present. What I'll do is again, review kind of last year's, give a idea, a synopsis of what Building and Grounds kind of does, just a little another piece of that puzzle, and then kind of illustrate some of the headwinds that I see us facing coming the next couple of years. So last year was crazy. Record amount of snow, followed by a drought. It was crazy. Our budgets, well, we tried to predict some of these things. Snow removal was 260% over what we had budgeted for. A lot of the materials and stuff that we use, double the increase. A lot of it still due to supply chains with COVID, things like that. Fortunately, those things are easing this winter, totally 360 from what we saw last winter. So all these things kind of compiled to us being over budget of what we had planned. One of my favorite sayings is, if you're explaining, you're not gaining. So yeah, all these things are reasons why we did, but the bottom line is we were over, and I take responsibility for that. That is one of my major duties, is to make sure we're fiscally responsible and within budget. So fortunately, I do not usually make the same mistake twice. Going forward, with the season we're having and things like that, it looks like we will be able to maintain that budget that was laid out last year for us. Along with that increased amount of snow, or the costs and things, our time was also increased. So we had a total of 330 hours of snow and roughly 230 hours of setup. So that number, the 560 hours, will come up again later in what I present. But this also included one of my previous initiatives is to increase the amount of PM that we're doing. So ideally, a facility is 20% on demand, 80% preventative maintenance. We're not close to that. I want to move that marker close to that. So kind of the goal is to be closer to 1,200 total work orders, with a majority of those need, well, an increase of the number of preventative maintenance. So that goal is to increase that. So we are closer to that 80-20. And again, the reason we want to do that is we find things that will affect the buildings before it affects the people in it, students, staff. So that is the goal of preventative maintenance. It also is the goal to prolong the life of the equipment. So again, being that good steward of taxpayer money, we're not simply replacing when it is run to fail type of thing. We're trying to maintain our equipment a little better. So some of you might look at that number, well, 680. If you do the quick math, at what, 3-4 work orders a day, might not seem like much, but if you go to the next slide, many of the building and grounds activities are below the water line. So if you look at forward-facing things that we do, staff work orders, setups, things like that, there are a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes. So something as simple as striping a field, you might see us out there for 3 hours, but you won't see us ordering the paint, mixing the paint, taking care of the equipment, the sprayers, things like that, coordinating with our lawn service to make sure the grass is cut. There is a tremendous amount of underlying things that just are not seen. And with that, that need to increase the amount of preventative maintenance. And that typically is not forward-facing, that's all behind the scenes. With that, all that extra work, all those things that we tend to do, we have to prioritize these work orders. And here's kind of a list of things in which we prioritize. So, of course, life safety, security, some of those very high priority, they're taken care of immediately. Building conditions, something that will affect the building, so plumbing leaks, things like that. We want to take care of so that cost isn't increased the longer you leave it. And then, of course, anything that affects the classroom, that learning disruptions. So it could be anything from a fluorescent bulb flashing, mechanical noises, things like that, that will affect learning. And then corrective and additional work orders. Those are a lot of the staff work orders, just wanting something installed, maybe assembling furniture that was purchased. So that is going to be a backlog activity. Because all these other things take precedent, those will then, with our limited resources, get delayed, and usually a point of contention. Typically, that is the edge. Our preventative maintenance, I would say, we need to elevate that importance, which currently it slides on that importance scale now. We've been taking care of some of this other stuff. That preventative kind of gets pushed to the back. Right now, we're sitting at about 80%, 85% completion rates on work orders, which is good. Shannon, you recently had asked me a question on one of the employee engagement surveys. What are you most proud of your time here? So for me, I'm very proud of the very limited resources grouping that we have. So it's myself and 2 other techs. We are very good at getting these top 3 items done in a very, very timely manner. Within the hour, within the day, those items are corrected. And we're at 100% rate for those. That's something I'm proud of, because we do have very limited staff. And we're doing all those things below the waist. So something I'm proud of. Go ahead. So with some of the headwinds that I described, all that effort, and I can clarify what that means, requesting 1 additional FTE. Looking at some of the things, that 560 hours, I would classify that as unskilled labor. So you have higher compensated positions doing unskilled labor. So some of those things, there's kind of that need to, for an entry-level position to take over some of those, so that more skilled positions can do some of those PMs, some of those things that we're currently contracting out. So I don't want that to look like we are gonna then become electricians, plumbers, HVAC guys. There's still gonna be a need for those. And it does not make sense to have those type of positions within the school district. But it does make sense to have that entry-level position that not only can do some of those unskilled labors, but also there is a big need to have someone here, a district representative on the weekends. There are so many events happening both Saturday and Sunday, whether it is practices or actual events that would require someone to be here, which we currently have custodians here. We contract that out, and that is overtime for them. So it is would be cost effective to have an individual here that can kind of manage the site. So with all of that, understand even today that there are probably larger priorities for the school district than this position. Talk about subs. So our department is here to facilitate education. So we understand when the need for teachers or the need for subs, we'll take that precedent. It's understandable. But I'll continue, as I present here, to show the benefits of having this type of position, this FTE. So as the year continues, the need for this type of position will become more and more forefront. Go to the next slide. So looking ahead, these are some of the headwinds. So with referendum projects, building and grounds will be spending a lot of time coordinating things with the project. Whether it is access for contractors, setting up shutdowns, things like that. It's going to add to our workload, and that is just going to, so as you looked at the priority of work orders, that bottom section, that backlog, the times will expand on that. It's just what's going to happen. There are, so when I presented in previous years, there were a bunch of initiatives that we were set to take over. Some of them like the safety committees and getting our asset manager and another work order system up and running. Some of those are going to have to take a back seat. There are not enough resources to follow in through those. So those are some of the negatives with the project. Some of the positive, which we can see is as groups are here, we can leverage them here. Say, for instance, we're replacing the asphalt in the high school parking lot. Well, we also need to replace asphalt at the elementary walking path that's crumbling. So to have a contractor here, already mobilized, already with the supplies, we can leverage that and become very efficient in maybe doing some of these other repairs. So there are some benefits, even though time-wise, to have these referendum projects. One of the other things all this building does is it does affect the operating long-term. So that there are impacts to increasing square footage. So you also increase utilities, you increase some of the wear and tears, custodial use. All of these things will add cost, operating cost, not just after the project, but continually. So that increased square footage with the auditorium, track, which is great. All these things are great. We have not had a track meet, but we'll have track meets. What that also brings is needs for custodians, needs for different things. So that will increase cost. And it's just one of those headwinds we've got to look into. And with all that additional square footage and such, it is likely that 25-26, I'll be standing in front of you asking for an increase in the operating budget. The last kind of headwind that these projects create is every everything has a lifespan. So carpet has a lifespan, fits and finishes have lifespan, mechanical have a lifespan. We've reset the clock on a lot of equipment. All of that will come due. So there is kind of a tsunami happening, or will happen down in the future, where, like the elementary, you had so many devices and equipment and finishes that are obsolete, that needed replacing, you had to go for referendum. So looking ahead, there is a need now to plan for either offsetting those costs, where you either replace early so that that clock is not all at the same time on all the equipment. Some of the other possibilities is Fund 46. I know with no mechanism to put money into it, it's very difficult to start something like that. So, but maybe that's something we look at. And the other thing is, we just need to start planning for that to happen. So the last referendum, 2020, fits and finishes 5 years, so paint. Starting to look at paint, and some of those finishes start to needing replacement. So same with the high school. Furniture, some of it, next couple of years, start to need to replace that. So taking smaller chunks off now, instead of having a large chunk needed 10, 15 years down the road. That is all I had. Any questions?
I had a question about when you referred to the contracting out on the weekends.
Yep.
So that's something, you're saying, you know, like, I'm just curious, can you say more to that?
Sure. We currently contract all our cleaning through Blue Ribbon. If there's an event on the weekend that either requests that custodian, or we say we need something for that, that individual is then paid overtime to come in, which with contracting costs would be a little higher than our own person being there for that. So ideally, that position would be one day, maybe a Saturday, is their regular hours, so they're not being paid overtime on that day. Right. The other thing with that is there is an opportunity too for these outside organizations that use our facilities. Perhaps we then say, you have more than X number of people, you're required to have a custodian there for 5 hours. And that could offset some of that cost for that in-house custodian or position.
Well, that was discussed too, Shannon, maybe you can speak to this, like in some of the discussion groups prior to the referendum with the auditorium and things, some of that cost that then will be bringing in for renting, but there are going to be a lot of weekend events. I mean, once we get that auditorium,
Yep.
and that's a pretty high amount of money that people are going to, when I look at it, now, like New Richmond, to rent it out for a whole, weekend, or to have those events. So we're gonna,
Yep.
that's gonna be important to have somebody.
And you're looking at much higher cost square footage. So a gym, wood floor, hoops. Here you have electronics, you have better fits and finishes where if something is damaged, it's going to cost us more to repair that or have that group. So again, looking into the future, that additional position really shows the importance. When we have someone in-house as part of the district is overseeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you're looking for this for next
Yes.
school year?
Correct. Yep.
It's informational at
Yep.
this point.
Okay.
Yeah, understand it. There's a much larger process than just
Yep.
presenting.
Yep.
I just want to get it on everyone's radar.
Yep. Great. Any other questions for Tim?
So I emailed him today just about, I don't know if it's something we can set up with some type of, our kids go do internship programs or school
Yep.
work or something, but if you're talking unskilled labor, I mean, being in the field, I mean, a lot of these jobs are things, if we have kids looking in this field, and I think I emailed you about it anyway, but, I mean, facilities management is a huge is a huge industry, a lot of jobs, and there's not a lot of people who do it. And I mean, for students to know that it is an opportunity out there, I think, I mean, even almost a shadow, here's your list of things to do today. You have 3 hours, or if you got 3 kids, or you don't even have to pay them because they're giving them credit. I don't know how that works, but I mean, or are you paying them? But I don't know, maybe throwing it out to our shop classes or our, out on the, who would be open to doing something like that, so you're not painting the lines on the football field or something.
Yep, no, totally open to
Showing up
that.
early to shovel.
No, exactly, and even having that individual then train up, say it is someone that we won't have a position, but they'll be looking for a tech position or something like that. To have someone, a very good person for a year or two, and then they move on, which is typical for this type of position.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks. Next on our agenda, discussing our next meeting, February 26th. There was some discussion and putting it on the agenda for this evening to move up the start time due to the Fine Arts Festival that's taking place on the 26th. So I think the discussion was initially if we would regularly start at 6 o'clock, but to move it up to 5.
So the Fine Arts Festival starts at 6:30, although it kind of opens at 4:30, but
Okay.
the performances and things start at 6:30. So I think kind of whatever you feel
I
comfortable
can
with.
make it at 5.
Would everybody be available for 5? Lori, does 5 work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So is there a motion to change our start time?
I'll make a motion to have our meeting on February 26th start at 5 p.m.
Is there a second? Bruce seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. And then looking at our topics for action, personnel update, donations, sick bank, and invoices. Is there any further discussion or is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve 8A, 1 and 2, B1, C1, D1, that's it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Marge seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. District celebrations. I started last time. Ian, you want to start this time?
Sure. We went to the Music Boosters fundraiser at River's Edge. It was a lot of fun. Thanks everybody that came. If you didn't, you should come next year.
Matt?
I've got nothing.
I don't have anything. Bruce?
Second what Ian said, never been, was a great time. And the dealer, that was great too. And then it's playoff season for basketball and hockey very soon, in the next couple weeks. So get out. Wrestling already started last weekend. So keep supporting those if you can throughout the season. It's fun to watch.
Marge? Corey?
Awesome for me.
Okay. Lori?
Yeah, just congratulations to Julie Martell, who's taught in our district for 6 years, and Carol Zinter, who has been teaching at our middle school for 21 years. Congratulations on your upcoming retirement.
Thanks, Lori. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this meeting is adjourned at exactly 7 o'clock.